And today is Thursday, April 13th, 2023. So Starla, can I please have you do the roll call for us, please?
Sure. Carmelita Chief.
Present.
Catherine Moore. Here. Supervisor Begay.
Here.
Lisa Gainey.
Here.
Frank Garcia.
Here.
Corey Hartman. Here. And Beth Straight.
First.
Good. One of these days. Okay. Straight.
All right, thank you very much for that. So we do have a full quorum here. I'm going to move on to public participation, item 3. Do we have any members of the public joining us on Zoom?
We do not.
All right, moving on to the approval of the minutes from February 2023. If you need a reminder, there was no meeting in March, which is why we don't have an approval of minutes from March. There was no quorum, so that is the reason for that, but give you a few minutes to look through those minutes. And I will open up the floor for a motion.
I move we approve the minutes from February 2nd, 2002.
Thank you, Corey. Is there a second on that motion?
I'll second it.
So with that, all those, how should we do this? This is.
We can just say aye.
Okay. Well, it's hard to count how many, unless there's a nay, I'll just kind of go that way. So if you are opposing, please let us know. Otherwise, I will take the silence as everybody in approval or an abstention. Okay, any abstentions? All right, so I will actually abstain from this vote. So with that, we have how many people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6 in approval, 0 opposed, and 1 abstention. Great. We can move on to item 5, which is reports and discussion items, and I'll give the floor over to Linda, who is our new library director.
Well, I'm so glad to finally get to meet everyone this month. I was disappointed that we didn't meet last month, but I'm glad that everyone's here today. Does anybody have any questions of me? Questions you'd like to ask me? I sent director's report to Starla yesterday. I will, for future meetings, get that to you sooner than the day before. I'm just kind of learning the ropes of where to get the information I need, and I will work on getting that to you sooner so you actually have time to look through it more. I don't know if anybody had any questions of me.
Those on Zoom, do you have any questions for Linda?
I just wanted a little, maybe give us a little of your background.
Okay.
I think you're from Colorado?
Most recently.
Yeah.
Yes, I was actually born in Globe, Arizona.
Oh, okay.
My dad worked for the White Mountain Apache tribe, and then later for the Hopi tribe for 20 years. So, yes, but before I came here, I worked for the Phoenix Public Library for 14 years, and I worked for the Park City, Utah Public Library for 12 years as their director. And then most recently, I was at the Eagle Valley Library District, which is up by Vail in Colorado, and I was there for 10 years. That's kind of my library's background.
Okay.
and then maybe Arizona. Sort of, although we left, my mom moved us to Colorado, my sister and I, when I was in the second grade. So I did go to school up on the Hopi Reservation, but not for a long time. I don't know if any of you were in the interview process, so I didn't want to be repeating a lot of. Okay, so I won't be boring you with the same stories. Oh, we already heard this. Yeah, so I even have a Native American name because when I went to school, my sister and I were very white and had white blonde hair, and so the kids called us Little Marshmallow and Big Marshmallow. So I'm Little Marshmallow because I'm younger. That's my name.
Now they're saying that in that language, if you can say that.
You know, I can only say like, I can tell people to shut up. You know, I don't know I don't know that many Hopi or natural words.
Well, we're glad to have you here. I'm just curious, like, how did you get into this profession?
So I was living in Phoenix, and I had gone back to school to get a teaching credential because I graduated from Western State in Colorado with a degree in psychology, which was really interesting and I really loved, but you can't do much with it, really, unless you go in, further in your education. So I wanted to become a teacher. So I was going to school at Arizona State University to get a post-baccalaureate teaching certificate. And I got a part-time job working for the Phoenix Public Library in their telephone reference unit, which was so fun. I mean, this was pre-internet, so we would get somewhere between 700 and 900 calls a day, just people asking us anything. Questions just ran the gamut. And in the center of the room, we had a Lazy Susan that was probably 8 feet in diameter, and it had 3 levels, and it was covered with reference books. So
Oh my gosh.
people would call and ask a question, and there were 3 of us working the phones, and you'd spin the Lazy Susan, and you grab your reference book and get an answer.
You were the hey Google.
I have been called Google when I tell people that story.
Yes.
So it was so fun. It was a great job.
Interesting.
And so at some point, I was kind of like, I'm not looking forward to my student teaching as much as I'm looking forward to going to the library and working. So that was sort of the aha moment.
Awesome. And how are you liking Flag so far?
Oh, I like Flagstaff really well. I've lived in Phoenix for all those years, and so I've been to Flagstaff pretty often. And in fact, when I was younger, when I was a kid, I ran my first 10K at Fort Tuthill.
Oh, wow.
So I still have the t-shirt. I took it to city council as an exhibit.
What was the name of the race?
It was some kind of Olympic fun run.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have that t-shirt too?
No, but back then I put on a lot of races. And
Oh, okay.
I would recognize the name of it.
I think it was 1979.
Yeah.
Out at Fort Tuthill.
First time the Big Brothers marathon run was there, but I might get running in that too, I don't know.
Yeah, and then the next weekend was the Governor's Kachina race, and I did that one too. But it wasn't my first one.
Yeah, I have that t-shirt, yep.
I don't think I still have that t-shirt.
Well, thank you and welcome. I know that I speak for the board when I say that we were quite excited to have you join us, and looking forward to the expertise that you're going to contribute to the libraries in our region. Thank you. All right, so we will move on to our new and reappointed board members, Lisa Gainey.
Gainey, yes.
Gainey, and we're going to welcome back Catherine Moore. Either of you, would you like to make any remarks? Lisa, is this your first
This
meeting?
is my first meeting and I'm really, really excited to be here and pleased to get to meet all of you, even if it is virtually. I'm down in Phoenix house sitting for my daughter's dogs while she's on her honeymoon, so couldn't be in town. But I'm really glad to get to see everybody and I just hope I can contribute to this group. The library is the first place I went when I moved here in 1983. That's how long I've had a library card here. And that was when the library was back in the Theatricos building. And usually wherever I go, that's the most important thing to me is having a library card. So I'm really interested in what our library's doing and developing and programming. And I'm just really happy to be here.
Well, we're really happy to have you on board. Is there anything else you would like to expand as far as your introduction to us? And then we can also go around the room here and then also on Zoom so that you become acquainted with who's on the board and who's who.
Oh, do you mean more? Well, I mean, I've been in Flagstaff since 1983. I came here to go to graduate school in biology. And I met my husband also, who was going to graduate school here and at NAU. I'm originally from New York and then from Florida. So then I moved across the country and we got married and I never moved back. I have two kids that, well, one of them lives in Phoenix, the other in Seattle. I was raised, my mother was a teacher and I was always raised to value education and reading. And I volunteered at the Literacy Center before the pandemic, and then I had to stop doing English, facilitating English conversation classes for second language learners, which I really enjoyed and I miss, and I hope to get back to it. I also read for Sun Sounds of Arizona, which does reading for people who cannot read due to a disability. My husband and I both do that. And I'm retired, sort of. My husband says I failed retirement because I still work part-time for the university where I switched hats. Instead of being a biologist, I became a financial oversight manager. And I'm still on their payroll because they've had trouble filling my position for the past few years. So I'm still a part-time temp there, and I'm also a consultant for a medical device company as well. So keeps me busy.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, wow, she is like involved in so many things, which is great. Thank you for joining us and adding another thing to your plate, although I'm sure it won't feel like it's an additional burden of any sort, since you do love education and are quite involved in all things literary. So what we're going to do is I can get started with a brief introduction of who I am, and then we'll go around the room clockwise, and then I'll jump back to those of you who are on Zoom. Welcome again, Lisa. My name is Carmen Lita Chief. I am currently the chair of the committee or the board. I'm a citizen of the Navajo Nation. I've lived here in Arizona for all of my life. I'm originally from Kayenta, Arizona, which is a community in the nation on Navajo Nation. Let me see, I work for NAU, the Center for Health Equity Research, and I help to coordinate multiple research projects that are aiming at advancing health equity for Native communities here in the region. So I'll pass it on to you.
Okay. Welcome, Lisa. I'm Beth Verstreet, City of Flagstaff IT is where I work, and Linda and I have actually worked together a little bit. First getting her started with applications. I've been here about 7 years. I'm originally from Missouri, and I have a comparison of a library system, a pretty large one by Kansas City, and in my opinion, Flagstaff outshines them. So, I'm impressed.
Hi, Lisa. My name's Richard Tutwiler. I'm the Deputy Director of City Services, so I oversee the 2 Flagstaff libraries. I just hit my 4-year anniversary here with the city, so very excited to have that milestone. And I just finished a small stint as interim director, and I'm very happy to take a step back. It wasn't so small. It's a pleasure to meet you, and welcome to the team.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Gear.
Okay, my name is Nat White. I serve on the community college board with Frank's sister, Patty. I'm a retired astronomer from Lowell Observatory. I came here in 1969. I'm retired for a good number of years and been involved with the city in various ways, city council and commissions and things like that. But I'm here representing the foundation.
Thank you, Nat.
I'm Starla Doss, I'm the admin specialist. I'll be in contact with you the most probably, so.
Great.
Hi, I'm Catherine Moore, and this is my second go-around here on the board. I've had a term previously for 2 years, and then I enjoy it. I'm retired, so I applied and back again for another. I'm the vice chair, so kind of filling in when Carmelita's not here. Before I retired, I worked for the Indian Health Service and actually lived on the Navajo Reservation down on the White Mountain Apache in Pine Top. Well, actually down in White River at the hospital there. Anyway, yeah, I enjoy the board and feeling like, I'm part of the community and helping out, so welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, Lisa. I'm Corey Hartman. I've been in Flagstaff for about 21 years now. I grew up in Gallup, New Mexico. And I was in education until just last summer, and I switched to bread making full time. That's what I do. And I love being on the board. It gives me an opportunity to learn a lot, see what's happening in the community, and be more connected with the library, which I just think is such an important institution. Welcome.
So we previously had heard from, Linda, right? Yeah, Linda. Okay, Linda. So many new names that I'm getting reacquainted with. So let's move on to Frank and then Judy, and then we'll move to the staff on Zoom.
Sounds good. And hi, I'm Frank Garcia. I was born and raised in Flagstaff. I left for a while, but my family's been here forever. My grandfather used to tell me of being in front of the Babbitt building the day World War I ended. So it's been a while that we've been around. I work for FUSD here in the district. I have been a lifelong patron of the library. I started going there when I was probably 4, and I have a book I have to turn in that I finished last night. So it's been a long journey with the library. I really enjoy the board. I'm really kind of sorry I'm not there because I've got connections. Linda Tilton, I started my teaching career in Kearney, Arizona, which is a rock's throw from Globe. And then my wife also, my second teaching job was on the White Mountain Apache Reservation, where I taught 4th grade, and my wife was a pharmacist, and we lived in the housing behind the hospital that you might be familiar with back there too. So lots of connections today, and welcome to the board.
Thank you.
Oh, Judy, you're muted.
Okay. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm glad to be here today, and currently the board of supervisor for District 4, which encompasses Cow Springs to Wildcat Peak, and then into Tuba City area, Moncopie side, and then to Cameron and to Gray Mountain, top of Gray Mountain, back down just north of the Babbitt Ranch, Wapaki turnoff, and then goes into Flagstaff, which is Donny Park, and also down to Mormon Lake, and then Mormon Lake to Clit Wells and Forest Lakes, and then it goes across by Strawberry, and then just east of Winslow, that's Coconino County, also back all the way to the Cal Springs, Arizona. I was born and raised in Coal Mine Mesa, which is like 16 miles east of Tuba City. And I've worked in 4 jobs, which is health, education, housing, and infrastructure. And this is my 48th year working as a public servant. And just basically being there for people that need help, on the reservation. And I did go attend NAU, got my bachelor's and master's from NAU in business administration management. And it's taken me this far. So, but basically a rancher, a farmer still, and then also I have 6 kids, and I put them all through school through NAU, and just kind of getting them, they kind of have their own places and stuff like that. So I'm very proud of my kids. And then also my mom is 89 years old, and she's currently in Tuba City with a couple of my sisters right now. So they're taking care of that and the sheep while I'm doing a lot of work out here in Flagstaff. So I enjoy, helping people, and as a public servant, that's something I like. I like to do is, take on the challenges that, that where the needs are. And so we're doing a lot of that from our office right now. And so there's a lot of things that we're working on too, that encompasses everyone in the district. Next year in 2024, we will no longer, District 4 will not be consisting of Blue Ridge and Forest Lakes area. But we're going to be moving our district up north, which is Inscription House and Navajo Mountain. And everything else is going to stay all the way down to into Flagstaff. So that's something that we're kind of trying to start the transition on. But glad to be part of the library. Been very busy because of the floods. We're doing flood mitigation, all the way down to getting sandbags to where they need to go, evacuating people from Burt Springs and finding them a place to stay. We had just recently got done with that. So there's a lot, and when you think for the whole District 4 is a real big area, and sometimes you lose sleep over it, sometimes you don't remember eating. I just had a little lunch here, and I just put my stuff away. I looked at the time, it was already 1 o'clock, so, and there's a lot of conflicts in scheduling too, so. But anyway, I just want to say thank you, and glad to be part of this team, and I try to make every effort to, to attend, and where it's allowed. We will be doing our budget meetings here starting the 24th of this month for the next 3 weeks. We're going to be doing departmental budget hearings and things like that. So we're going to be busy for the 3 straight weeks. So, but that's where we're at. And we're just kind of there's a lot to talk about. The flood mitigation. We're looking at Brandis Way, Campbell, Paintbrush, and watersheds, Schultz Creek area. We received some funding, and we're going to be doing that for this coming spring. So, doing all the we're going to be doing all of that. So, we're also going to have a district center in Tuba City for District 4 and 5, so that we don't have to be in Flagstaff. We'll be in where our chapters are, so we fund that part of that. So it will be developed right there at the county land, which is just by McDonald's in Tuba City where the park is. So that's what we're working on too. So anyway, there's a lot more to talk about, but basically I just wanted to introduce myself. But I love to talk. That's probably the reason why I'm still here as a public servant. I think I explain things in all 4 directions. But yeah, and the big one that we're looking at is the Northern Arizona Healthcare wants to be moving down to where we have our fairgrounds out there by the airport, and there's a big discussion about that going on. And I know one thing that I kind of worry about is that it's gonna really it's the frontage of the fairgrounds there. So it kind of is going to create some already, we know that the parking is a lot. It's hard to get through there, and then So things like that. And then right now we're looking at the regional plan for the city, and the county is very involved in that. And then we're also looking at a comprehensive plan for the entire county. So those are things that we, our staff are working on. So, but we do have board meetings every Tuesday. Almost every Tuesday, every week Tuesday is our board meetings. And then, so, just want to say thank you very much. And the new director, thank you. There's a lot of work, and then in that new center that we're talking about in Tuba City, I think maybe we could have a library, office there. That's what I was thinking, because they're now determining how we could, get, everything up to north, as far as the library is concerned. So that's what I'm kind of talking about, is having an office space for the library there. So if you have to go in one day, to disseminate things or information or whatever, we can help in that way from our office. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Supervisor Begay. Okay. Okay, so we have 4 people remaining, and let's go with Kirsten, Mark, Barbara, and then Heidi.
Perfect. Yeah. I'm Kirsten Pearson. I'm the executive assistant to the library director and oversee the admin team for the library. I've been here in my position for 1 year and 4 months, and enjoying it a lot. It's been a challenge to oversee a library that's city and county structured the way that this one is, but it's very different than the previous library systems that I've worked in. But it's been interesting to learn the ins and outs and make sure that the library can put its best foot forward financially. So that's a little bit about me.
Hello, my name is Mark Caesar. I'm the library IT manager. Me and my staff look after all the computer and computing environments at all the county libraries. And I've been with the library for 16 years now.
And Barbara, are you there?
Yes, so sorry. My computer died. So are we just doing introductions?
Yes, we are.
I'm Barbara Tate. I'm the supervisor of the East Flagstaff Community Library for 1.5 more days. Tomorrow's my last day. And I do have updates for you whenever you're ready also.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Barbara. And then Heidi.
Good afternoon, Library Board. Heidi Hansen. Currently, I'm doing 2 positions. I've been doing an interim deputy city manager position for about 1.5 years, which will be ending hopefully in May. And then I'll be going back to my other position where I sit around the city manager's leadership table as the economic vitality director. This division for economic vitality has several sections, and one of them is the library, which is city and county. And I am happy to say that we were able to recruit Linda as the new library director. She's amazing, and as you get to know her more, I think you're going to see what a great fit she is for our community. And she's already hit the ground running, meeting with over 40 employees and getting to know the city council as well. So I can't thank her enough for what she's done in such a little bit of time. It's so nice to see you, Nat White. I haven't seen you for a while, and it's great to see that you're so active with the library, and I appreciate that. I just wanted to say hello. I know that you're in good hands with Linda and the team. If you have any questions for me ever about the division that I get to direct or anything with the library, just please reach out to me. I am going to have to get off this call because the airport commission is happening at the same time, and I have to do a presentation. So again, I just want to thank you for your service and for volunteering on this board. And again, please feel free to reach out to me if you ever need anything. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. We also appreciate all the work that you've done to help us get Linda here to lead all the wonderful things that we have going on. Alrighty, thank you, everyone. I feel like I knew I was conscientious of time, and I know that did take some time, but I think it's important for us to really warmly welcome our new members and re-welcome our returning members. And it was awesome just to hear all of the different connections that we had with each other, because I don't think we've ever really had a chance to talk about those things that in our background that help us connect with one another. All right, so let us move on to Linda's report, the director's report, which will be in conjunction with Richard's.
I did send out a director's report, and this has, did you get one? Beth?
I read it.
Oh, okay, oh, you read it. You get an A+. This is traditionally the way I've done a director's report for the last 20 or so years working with boards. But if you prefer, you know, more of an oral report or slideshow or something like that, I'm happy to do that as well. I just thought I would do a traditional one that I have done and get a feel for what the board's preferences are. I think one advantage of this model is it really gives board members a chance to read things ahead of time and if I get it to you sooner, have time to think about things and formulate any questions you have, et cetera. But it's really up to you all how you prefer to have that done going forward.
Okay. I would just suggest that we kind of think about any new formats that we might want to entertain with Linda. But for now, I'm more than happy to continue on with this. And if there's any photos that you want to share to kind of supplement or maybe contextualize some of the things that you noted in the report, that would be valuable.
I just had a question, like, I did read through it, but does it, like, I know when we had the meetings previously, we sort of got updates on like the renovation project and the different things that were like happening. Is that like another part of the?
Yeah, I mean, that can be part of this report. I didn't even ask Richard for contributions, but I can definitely do that.
And I can talk.
And
Yeah.
and I also thought that if you wanted an update on the project, you could certainly provide that verbally today. I had gone to a few of the meetings, but you have a much more in-depth knowledge of that project, right?
I sure do. It'll end one day. Would you like me to go into detail? I certainly can right now if you'd like me to.
Yeah, kind of where
Sure.
we are with them right now.
So right now, you know, happy days, we have some good weather. We've been waiting so long for some good weather. We are in the process of pouring the underlying concrete and then also the asphalt that will, you know, lay the foundation of the parking lot, and then really also provide a staging area for us to redo the ramps that are necessary for ADA compliance to get up there. The original subcontractor who pulled those ramps, I'm sure many of you will remember, did not meet the grade required for ADA accessibility, so we did have to rip those up. But the biggest challenge has always been weather. We obviously had a 100-year, you know, snowfall event this past winter, and that was a challenge to work through. But it looks like, you know, we are out of the woods there, and we are making some serious progress towards it. Now, what does serious progress mean? You know, everybody wants to, you know, get in through that front door, and I can't blame you. We're looking for substantial completion as early as May 1st. And what substantial completion means is that there's enough of the project having been finished where we can open that up and, you know, allow people to have an entrance into the library proper, no longer through the temporary entrance. Now, the next week will be very telling in terms of if we'll meet that mark. But regardless, May, it should be done, unless, you know, a tornado rips through Flagstaff. But I know it's been a long road, so thank you all for being patient with us as we work through these construction challenges. And that's kind of where we are. We're very excited to get that front entry plaza done and get the new outdoor furniture and host of programs, and just in time for summer reading, which is coming sooner than you think. So that's some updates there. And we also continue to move forward on our website update. So that project is scheduled for completion this coming June. I met with that team alongside Mark Caesar earlier in the week, and we're still well on track. The next stage is usability testing, which will we had actually considered, do we want to like go out into the community for usability testing, or do we want to do like an online functionality? And we kind of went through the numbers, and the online functionality testing that's the contractors proposed would be a lot more financially prudent for us to pursue. So we did decide to go with that first, see what type of testing we get, and then maybe if we have time, because again, schedule's very important, I want this done quickly. Then we may end up doing some usability testing with local partners, which would include, of course, the board. But for now, you know, we're going to see how things go and assess the time needed to make sure that we're meeting that schedule without going over. Because we are hopeful that we can have it done just before summer reading, which would be, you know, a boon. We'll probably enter, you know, about a month-long window where we're doing bug testing during that launch window. But we'll see. You know, we're right now we're hitting all of our markers and we're on track, and that's where we want to be. So that's exciting. And tomorrow we have a job fair. So if you want, you know, some more jobs, I know Lisa probably is looking for a couple more. We do have a job fair, so come on, swing by. I'll be out there for a little bit to give advice to our community members who are seeking employment, and many of our staff will as well. And that was done by Lauren Clementino, our reference supervisor. So all the big credit goes to her and our human resources team.
And Richard, is that for the city postings and county postings, or just Flagstaff generally?
That is City of Flagstaff postings, but we'll also be doing one-on-one help, you know, resume crafting, you know, just general tips for anybody looking to apply for a job. We want to be able to build those skill sets in our community. But yes, the job fair part will be in City of Flagstaff. So that's what I've been up to.
Which is quite a lot. Thank you for all that you do.
Absolutely.
So maybe, Linda, if there's any of these items that you want to put an emphasis on, that you want to emphasize, I'll give that time to you. And then I'll open up to the board as well if you want to pinpoint something that you might have questions on, or you want a little bit more info on. You'll have your chance after Linda gets done.
Okay, I would just, one thing I would want to highlight would be the staff one-on-one meetings that I'm doing. I know Heidi already mentioned that, but I am really getting, I feel like, a wealth of knowledge by sitting down and learning the role of each staff member. And I have a standard set of questions that I'm asking each person. I think you can buy those on the black market now, but anyway, yeah, it's been just a wonderful experience getting to know the staff one-on-one, and just to hear so much love for this work and for the community. And it's one of the reasons I love working with libraries, and have done it for so many years, and Flagstaff's no exception. I mean, the staff here are so dedicated and just have this depth of caring for the community that is quite wonderful. I think the other thing I would mention is that the mayor read a National Library Week proclamation at the city council meeting this week, and that was really nice to have her do that, and I think she was pretty enthusiastic about it. And one of the council members, is it McCarthy? Yeah, he gave a shout out to, I think, his daughter, who's a librarian, afterward. And I just thought that was really lovely to see that support from the council. And then I don't know that I really have anything else that I would necessarily highlight. But I'd be happy to take any questions.
Wonderful. I'm glad that you put mention of the National Library Week in there, because I didn't even know that was a thing. All right, board, do you have any questions for Linda, or maybe any requests for additional emphasis on any of these items?
I just had a question about the East Flagstaff Library lease. Like,
There's that.
well, a year's not very far away is the library thinking like continuing to have a library over there, looking for a space or?
Absolutely. Nate gave me the first heads up that this was likely to occur a few weeks ago. And in fact, I don't know if you arranged the meeting between me and Eric Heiser. But anyway, so we had a chance to talk and certainly would want to continue to have a presence in East Flagstaff because that is a very heavily used facility and I think very loved and needed by that community. So we're absolutely looking at what we can do to find a new location. And Heidi has put us in contact with John Saltonstall to be looking at that, to looking for spaces and seeing what we might be able to lease. I mean, I would hope that we could even find something a little larger.
Yeah.
It's pretty small for the size of the community they serve and the number of people that use it. But yes, it is concerning. A year and a half is not a lot of time.
Yeah. I'm sorry, that's on the agenda. The good side of it is that the 4th Street CCC campus is becoming overwhelmed. And they do need to expand. The history of it is it used to be one room, one little small classroom over across the street in the junior high over there. Books around the bench and that was about it. And I was on the board at the time and that option was possible because the college was only going to use a little bit of it. And it has worked out beautifully. And as you pointed out, and I looked at when I went to President Dr. Eric Heiser, is the new president of Canadian Community College. When I went to him, because I heard in the board meeting that staff was talking about expanding, that I looked up the usage. And in some ways, there's more usage there than at the main library on certain areas. And I was happy, but then very anxious. And Eric really supportive of this kind of thing. So that was a connection. And I hope the good side of this is, as you pointed out, that eventually we'll find a bigger and better place.
Hoping for that.
Yeah. Sorry. I didn't.
No, that's interesting.
Yes.
I think that Lisa has a question.
Oh, thank you. I was just wondering if I could just ask another question about the website that Richard spoke about. If I understood correctly, you were talking about not testing it with members of the public or the board, but doing this other kind of online testing as it was better cost-wise. But is there going to be any portion before you release this to have users go out and try the website or give feedback? I've been on several focus groups for websites, actually, for some companies, as well as working at NAU for 35 years, something like that, and watching NAU open new websites only for folks like me, an end user, to go out and try to accomplish a task and find out, oh, they didn't ask people if we needed to do that. Now, it's not there. It's not until you get end users involved, you find out which things don't work. So I just wondered, is there going to be a portion of the time that you test this that you will have end users input?
Yes, and maybe I didn't do a good job of explaining that portion. So it will absolutely be tested, the usability testing by end users. It's just instead of going out locally and really trying to get individuals to, participate in this usability feedback to the level that they need, which is a sizable amount of individuals, they're going to go out online to basically groups that they basically pay to go in and do it as groups. So it will be substantially more end users for
Good.
less cost than if we were to go out individually to members of the community here. Now, it is still a possibility that we'll do, end users in this area, like the board, our patrons. We talked about staff too, but honestly, information professionals, we already know really what we're looking for. We really want to find the people, the laymen who don't use the library, but are guided to find a certain thing on the website and see how they do that. That's really what we're looking for in this usability test.
Right.
So I hope that explains maybe better than I
Yeah,
have done.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. That was a good question. I'm not seeing anybody raising their hands. Thank you again, Richard and Linda, for your report. We will move on to action items. The first one that we have up on board is the City County IGA Study Group. Linda?
So not long after I arrived here, we had some meetings about the IGA that was getting ready to expire between the county and the city for the libraries. And participating in those meetings, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around the complexity of this relationship. And it seems like there are some things about how that is structured that are not always the most beneficial to, speaking of the end users, the library patrons. So one thing that I really wanted to do as we look at this, when does it gets continued, but then it expires again in another year, is that correct?
Yes, so it will expire June 30th of next year.
Right. So in the meantime, I thought it might be worth putting together a study group of stakeholders, so people from the city, people from the county, and really studying this relationship and how it is working and also how it is not working, and see if we can come up with some recommendations that we think might improve that. And so I wanted to
the city and county library relationship, is that what you mean?
Yeah, just how that is structured. And so I wanted to bring that to the board and just get your feedback on that as a possible step forward. I feel like right now, since we have a complete year to bring some people together to talk about this, now would be the time to do that, not 2 months before it's ready to renew again.
And you wanted to have that conversation now and at this time?
Yeah, I just wanted to, is that okay to do that now?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted feedback from the board on that as an idea, and we would definitely want a couple people from the board to be on that.
Do you want to review what that is? I mean, the tax district and what the structure is?
But what's the history of it being combined, do you know?
So
How did it how did it become like one? Like instead of having the city library and then the county is another whole.
I read a study that was done by a library consultant, and it might have, I think it existed before that, but then a consultant came in and looked at that relationship. And it was really, I think, a way of utilizing resources in the best way possible to serve users in such a vast area. And since you've got a very competent and well put together library in Flagstaff, why not use the administration of that and work with Flagstaff to help provide oversight and administrative service to these outlying libraries that some of them are, 1 or 2 person operations. So it's I think, you know, theoretically, a pretty good way to look at how to provide that service. It's the part that's a little complicated becomes the funding structures, and that consultant put together a method where each library's outputs are part of a formula, and then based on that formula, the funds are allocated to them. I'm looking for confirmation on this because I'm still enough of a newbie that I don't want to be giving incorrect information.
No, that is correct, and Kirsten can speak to more of the details if you have any specific details regarding that. But yes, based on how much foot traffic we get, usability, circulating materials, all of those things are combined into a formula that kind of, you know, takes the pie, if you will, and slices it up depending on, you know, who needs the most of it. Now, obviously, Flagstaff, we do the vast majority of circulation. So we get the biggest part of that pie, but we also have the most expenses in terms of we pay for the administration, we pay for the collection management, we pay for, you know, part of our IT team. Part of the IT team actually has its own sliver of that pie. But it's a very complicated way of saying that we are sharing resources to the best of our abilities to serve a challenging logistical area, which is Coconino County, because it's so big and so widespread. And we're trying to not duplicate as many services as we can. Instead, let's have them all, you know, one building and then delegate them as needed.
Do you know if that's a common structure in areas with a similar configuration?
This is the only one I've ever worked at like it, so I don't know how common it is.
I think Tucson and Pima County used to be set up as a city-county library system, but they're now just county.
In my experience, which is limited, there's usually, you know, a county district that reports to a governing library board, who then reports to a county board of supervisors, you know, that type of hierarchy. So, you know, it's a little bit different here because of the different parties involved and the different governments involved. But, you know, we still make it work.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that pie you're talking about that gets divided up is from a county library district tax. Everybody in the city, everybody in the county pays to that tax.
That's correct.
That's where the money comes from. And then it gets divided up
Yes.
as proportional. So it starts with a county-wide tax district.
Yes, and our current IGA details a base amount of funding for each library based on the study that was done back in 1998 or something like that. I can't remember when that document was from. And it has not been modified since then. So then outside of that, each year that there is more funding available based on growth, so increased value in the homeowners or the property taxes, that growth is then subsequently divided proportionately based on statistical analysis of each of the branches and affiliate libraries. It has this, as far as to my knowledge, has not been revisited since it was originally drafted. Again, as Richard spoke to, it's the only library district I've ever heard of that operates this way. And it's very complex, lots of moving pieces, and it could definitely use revisiting. There's some weak points to it. There's some strengths to it, but there's also some weak points that I think deserve to be explored, and ask if there's a better way to accomplish more by shifting things a little bit.
Thank you, Kristen. So from my opinion, I feel like this should be its own dedicated discussion, so we have more time to attend to it and really think through like any timelines, any new proposed changes we might want to make. So I don't know, board, if you think it might be a good idea to schedule its own meeting, like a work session, just to kind of talk about this more and where.
I mean, who makes the decision, the final, like, we want to change this? Is it up to the library? You guys?
City council and the
City council has to decide?
supervisors.
Yeah, we would bring forth any recommendation to those governing bodies. And the board could study this as a whole, or the board could appoint a couple of members to be on a study group with some county officials, with some city officials, and have a group that's made up of this variety of people that puts together some recommendations. And of course, those could be brought to the board to see. But I don't know that the whole board would necessarily have to participate in the whole process.
Okay.
But it was my thinking anyway.
Okay, all right. I was just trying to follow the conversation and the discussion. Ultimately, how would you like to move forward on this item? It's just identifying maybe volunteers among us? Okay.
Okay, that's kind of what I was hoping.
Is the document available to review?
Absolutely.
How many pages?
It's not that long ago, 16?
We had this
16?
discussion.
I think it was longer than that, but it's not crazy long, but.
Yeah. I read it at the airport while I was waiting for a flight, so it's not like.
What were you saying, Catherine?
We had this discussion back before about changing the actual library board's responsibility within the IGA to be not advisory, but to be
The library district I most recently worked for had a governing board. And it was not affiliated with a specific city or county. In fact, it was a part, most of Eagle County in Colorado, but not all of Eagle County. So just a different structure. But I do have experience in both. So I have worked for a city library in Kearns and Park City, and I've worked for a district, a purely district, a special district, not even part of a county. So now I'm trying to add a county city library to my experience.
All right, so maybe the action here is anybody who's interested in being a part of this initiative, just get in contact with Linda and submit your interest to her. And then we'll just ask you to keep us updated on who's a part of it and how you can start proceeding forward.
And if all of you want a copy of the IGA, I can get it from Linda. I'd be more than happy to send it to all of you. So that way you guys can review it if that works out.
Yeah, and we'll also send along the study that was done in, I think it was 1998. I think that number is just sticking in my head, but we can also send that along too.
It was definitely the late 90s.
In 98, is that what you were saying?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, all right, we're in the same generation. Oh. I'm just a few years younger. Boy, I wish I could go back to high school.
I mean, I had a blast.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Linda. We'll move on to the East Flagstaff Community Library. Barbara.
Okay, hello. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, can you see the slide that says year in review?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, cool. Move when I move.
We can see it when you move.
Okay, perfect, great. The hard part's over. Okay, so I am just gonna give you a bunch of info about the last year and some change since it is April already. I included a little bit from January to March 2023, but I covered all of 2022 also because that was the last time I gave an update. So in 2022, we expanded our hours finally again after being closed and or with limited hours after COVID. So we're finally open again 65 hours a week, which is great, and the public's been really happy about that. And it is also the first time, it's probably hard for everyone to remember, but our hours used to be different. So, and we didn't get to implement the new hours as they were approved before we shut down for COVID. So it was when we reopened post-COVID that we finally got to try the new hours where we're open all day on Sunday. We've also done quite a bit of rearranging. We got a new self-checkout machine and some new shelving and some really cool new shelves for the children's materials where the books can face out and the DVDs can face outwards. And let's see. We have brought back in-person volunteers, which was another thing that kind of happened slowly after COVID closures. So we have 12 volunteers. We actually have more now, but as of the end of 2022, we had 12 volunteers, and we've added a bunch more since then. And we have some teen volunteers as well, which we accept year-round at EFCL. Downtown, they only use teens during the summer, but we have 2 teen volunteers right now that are just like super impressive and awesome. So that's been really fun. We have a bunch of new materials for checkout for the Library of Things. So we have we're experimenting with some kitchen equipment like a stand mixer, Instant Pot. We have micro spikes for hiking and hiking poles and things like that, and solar chargers for your phone. And they've been pretty popular. We've had a little bit of issues with theft, but not too bad, honestly. We worked out the kinks pretty quickly on that. So that's all running smoothly so far. The culture passes have been really popular. So these are passes you can get to different places around the state, like museums, and you get 2 free passes per library card. People really love those, and it's actually been a good way for us to get people to make new library cards. We've had a number of people coming in saying like, oh, I heard about this culture pass thing. Can I get a library card so that I can get that? And then they end up using more services. So that's been cool to see. We brought back in-person programs in 2022 as well, which has been great. And things are slowly building. We're slowly building back participation numbers after being closed for a long time. So that's been fun. In 2022, we offered 252 programs and had 2,833 participants, which is an average of about 11 per program. So not super high, nowhere near pre-COVID, but decent. And we have done a bunch of things to just help support our more underserved community during this kind of challenging time post-pandemic, if you're even comfortable with the term post-pandemic at this point. So we gave out 490 Better Bucks booklets and 4,548 toiletry items. The toiletry items have been really popular. Menstrual products for people who identify as female, shampoo, conditioner, soap, sunscreen, chapstick, things like that. We also have updated the LGBTQ plus resource guide, which you can find on the website. And we started to offer like pronoun buttons for staff and patrons and things like that. In 2022 also, we started offering welcome folders. So when someone gets a library card for the first time, they get a little folder of information, which includes information about both libraries, the open hours, all the different programs and services that we offer, and also some information about other local resources. So it's been popular and a great way to kind of like introduce people. We usually give a spiel when we give a library card out for the first time, and this just kind of makes it less overwhelming. So we're not like giving someone a 30-minute lecture on all the things. Like when they first come in the door, it's like, here's some fun facts and here's a folder of information so you can learn more about everything that we have to offer. Tours and school visits are picking back up as well. In 2022, we had 5, and that's really just at the end of 2022 when we started having tours again. So we had 5 tours with 88 participants. In 2023, we've had 1 formal tour, but we've had a number of school visits so far also. Oh yeah. So we've helped classes do research on a bunch of different topics, and I love this little anecdote. Someone asked us about a giraffe weevil, which we do have a book on, and I didn't know it was a thing, so that was a fun question. And this is a picture of one if you didn't know what they are. So in 2022, we answered more than 18,000 questions. We created over 2,500 library cards. We had over 8,000 people use our computers, over 13,000 people use our Wi-Fi, and we pulled over 13,000 holds. And then a few stats for 2023 so far between January and March. Our door count has definitely gone up a little bit, so that's great to see. So we've had 36,624 patrons come through our doors in that time. We've offered 30 programs with 422 participants, so a little bit higher average, 14 participants per program instead of 11 from 2022. We've started to serve meals for kids at every one of our after-school programs, and that's been popular also. So we've served 100 meals so far in 2023. And we've also started offering sack lunches. The Kids Cafe meals are just during programs, and they're only for people under 18. But sack lunches are for anyone, and so we've had them utilized by kids and adults. And we've served 1,220 already in just between January and March. We've answered over 8,000 questions, and we've created over 500 library cards. And the meeting room bookings have picked up as well. We've had 48 bookings in the last 3 months. So people are excited to have that back. And this is just an adorable kid from one of our craft programs. They made hot air balloons, and I liked his mohawk, so I thought you might enjoy seeing that. And then in 2023, coming soon, we got a grant from the state funded by LSTA to hire a teen intern over the summer as an artist in residence. And we had a bunch of really great applicants. We selected Miley McQuippy, and she's going to be starting at the end of April and working through the summer. And she's going to learn she's going to do some shadowing in different departments and learn about what the day-to-day looks like for different departments and different positions in the library. And then she's also going to get mentored in creating an art installation that will be permanently at the library. And it sounds like we might need to make it something that's movable. Sadly, we have a lot of great murals that can't be moved if we change buildings. So this will be a nice start to a new building, perhaps. We also, as part of the library's Equity and Action Committee, there's a book club that was started, and there's 2 members of EFCL staff who have led this, and it's a book club that's for all of the organizations that participate in NAPEP, so city, county, FUSD, Mountain Line, and a bunch of smaller school organizations. And we discuss issues of equity in public service. And we've had 2 books that we've offered so far. We're just doing 2 a year. And the most recent one was They're There by Tommy Orange. We had those discussions in March. And two EFCL staff members led those. And then we're currently planning for the Summer Reading Challenge. And we have, during COVID, we started doing programs outside at Bushmaster Park, and that was really popular. So we're going to do that. Luckily, we don't have to do it in the winter anymore because that was challenging, although people did still show up. But we are going to continue to do that over the summer because it was really popular. So we have permits for that all ready to go. And we're bringing back ToshoCon and doing some outreach around Pride in June. And that is all. Does anyone have any questions?
I have one comment.
Sure.
Barbara, thank you for all you've done for your years of service. Tomorrow is Barbara's last day with us. She has been indispensable in serving a very challenging at times community and doing so with grace and honor, and I can't think enough of her. Thank you, Barbara Tate. You were a pleasure. to work with.
Yeah, I will miss this place a lot. So thank you all for making it a fun place to work also.
Thank you, Barbara. Best wishes on wherever you're going next and whatever you're gonna do next.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm moving to back to Virginia.
Oh. All right. Thank you. Let me see here. So we will move on to Forest Lakes Community Library, but I do want to mention that we are at 212. Here's Brian Hawk.
Hey,
Hi.
how you guys doing? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to do a quick PowerPoint, but it's not coming up. I've uploaded and everything. Charlotte, do you have it handy by any chance?
I believe I do.
If you don't mind. I don't know why it's not.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm gonna share my screen.
Okay, hopefully I can see your screen so I can see what's going on. We'll see here. Perfect. Okay, so 212, it's telling me I got about 10 minutes. So I got to narrow it down from the 2.5 hours that Will said I had.
There we go. Does that work?
That's perfect. Do you mind starting the slide and I'll just say next, I guess?
Okay, trying to.
Okay. So once again, my name is Brian Hawk, the supervisor here at Forest Lakes Community Library, and there's gonna be a lot of background noise because we're very popular today. So let's, next please, next slide. So it should be on auto. There you go. So I want to start out by thanking you guys for supporting us so much. This library is really critical to this community. It's a year-round thing that's used everything from the hunters to homeschoolers to the schoolers. Actually, a school located here. So you guys have been doing an awesome job supporting us. Just start out by thanking you. Okay, so let's go ahead and click next. Okay, so this is the exterior. Last time I had this PowerPoint presentation, the internet wasn't working correctly. So this is our exterior. Next, please. And that's where we're located on the map, that little red dot. If you zoom in a lot, you'll see me waving at you. So it's kind of a zoom thing. Okay, next, please. Okay, did you guys get snow this year? That's the back of our library. And what's interesting is you have the kids come and get up on the roof and slide down. And of course you have to go out there and tell them not to do that. But then you have the adults that are doing it. And so we let them do it as long as they check out 3 to 4 books at a time. So, but this is our third biggest year for snow this year since 2010. And that makes it interesting. The roof creaked a lot at night, or during the day. Okay, next, please. So this is the interior, half of the interior of our library. It's a very busy place. A lot of this stuff is on wheels that we roll it in and out. The building's also used by a school, by a church, by a quilters group, by an AA group, and several other groups. So you'll see it get very busy, and a lot of it is the library traffic. Next, please. This is the school building where the kids are picked up and dropped off. There's now 22 or 23 kids, I believe, in this area that get dropped off and picked up here every day. So that brings in a lot of traffic. Plus we offer tutoring and some other services for these kids. Next. So this tower is now up and standing. We have a 120-foot tower. They brought in Wi-Fi fiber optic, which is awesome. So we are basically the only free decent internet between Heber and Payson. So it's about a 50-mile stretch. So it brings in a considerable amount of people which end up using the library. Next, please. So believe it or not, this is what our parking lot looks like in the summertime, because half of the valley, when it's 120 degrees, comes here and the other half goes to Flagstaff. But it gets really, really crowded sometimes. And but we're not complaining because we have a really good group of patrons. Next. So this year we did a big restructuring of the shelves here. So Will set that up and we had a couple volunteers come in. One of the main reasons was we needed to be ADA compliant, but we also needed to reinforce these shelves and reorganize it. So this is the original pattern that was here since when Noah came through in his boat. So this is something new. So if you go to the next click, please. So this is the chaos that we had for the few days that we were setting up for the big structural change of the shelves. Next. And this is, you can see Will and Gabrielle readjusting the shelves. And it was hard to get everything to fit, but we still had space left over. Next, please. We had a local resident who's actually a welder who came in and helped us set up the ADA standard, and he made this now earthquake proof. There's all reinforced supports along the top and the bottom. So we figure if California ever falls off into the sea and we start getting earthquakes, we're pretty good right here. Next. And this is what it looks like completed. It's now ADA compliant, so you can now walk through holding a book and a cup of coffee without bumping into anything. But the good part about this was it was at a minimal cost to the Flagstaff or to the library, because we used all the same original equipment. And actually the labor and the part cost were actually paid for by the local school here. So with the exception of a lasagna, a salad, and 2 cups of coffee, everything was at no cost to the library. Next, please. Okay, our staff. Gabrielle doesn't like her picture in here, so I asked her to submit a picture of her when she was younger. I think this is from Hunger Games, I'm not sure. But Gabrielle is a part-time volunteer here, and she is key. She was with Sholo for 25 years, so she makes this place run. She's done everything from relabeling to getting Aspen up and working for our patrons here. Next, please. We have 3 other volunteers. So they came in here for a glamour shot one day right after Daniel Steele was here. So Michelle, Leslie, and Roberta, they help with everything from the adult reading programs, story times, Saturday crafts. And then next, please. And this is a picture of me. So I'm actually a retired engineer, and which helps a lot because I love to do the tutoring, do the STEM teaching on the weekends when the kids come in. And it's one of the few days I actually do match. And then next, please. So our goal is we really try to get kids away from video games and social media. We get them more interested in the books, especially biographies. We're pushing biographies very hard this year, and with our breeding programs, because we just feel that kids really need to know that the people that have made a huge difference in this world have also had difficulties when they were younger. So we have a huge section now for biographies. Next. We teach orienteering. I'm a Boy Scout leader, so we teach orienteering here during the summertime. Next. We have teen parties with watermelon pizza and volleyball, lots and lots of volleyball, which I've gotten too old to play anymore, but it brings in a lot of the teens from the community. So there's 980 homes here, plus 5 major RV parks and campgrounds. So you'll have several thousand people up here at a time in the summertime. Next, please. Indoor crafts. Every Saturday is either an indoor craft or reading days. So for 4 months, we keep pretty busy, and this place gets really, really packed because everybody brings their grandkids up. Actually, I think what they do is they fill them with sugar, drop them off, and then come back 3 hours later. So we have a policy now that they can't leave us with them, and they can't sell their teenagers either, even though there's an eBay connection here. Next. And then outdoors, we're doing more and more stuff outdoors, trying to get kids knowing everything from how to set up a tent to orienteering to water safety. So we do a lot of outdoor activities now. Next, please. So this is Gabrielle's real picture, and she is our storytime queen. And the kids sign up, but we actually have a lot of adults come in to actually watch it because she's amazing with these puppets. So this is our story time that is now on Saturdays. This is also sponsored by the local school who owns this building. Next. And then of course, reading club. We have that next. We do fishing derby. That's actually the fire chief. And that's one of my better days when I'm wearing a shirt that actually matches, but that's the fire chief next to me in black. So we do a lot of stuff with the sheriff up here, the fire chief, game and fish, to encourage kids to get out and do more outdoor activities to get away from video games. Next, we're almost done. The weather department comes up here every year and teaches storm watch training. So what happens is some of the residents actually report right to the weather service every day, especially when we have some of the heavy snows that we have in this area. Next. We actually have homeless families that come up here in the summertime and live in the forest, and you'll find them out here, especially in the evening where they're doing homeschooling, because this is where the best internet connection is. Also, it's access to the bathrooms and a coffee maker, two very important things for education. Next. We're doing more and more interfacing with the local authorities to teach ATV, boat, fire safety. I believe, I want to say there were 16 people killed up here last year on ATVs, but I think the number is closer to the high 20s now. Unfortunately, a third of those people that were killed are actually underage drivers, kids driving ATVs without helmets. So we do a big push trying to get them connected to realize just how dangerous it is up here with the ATVs and the motorcycles. Next. So this is us on a good day. That's our reference section. So we just want to set up some goals. Can you go ahead and click the next one, please? And then I think you have to click. I don't remember how I set this up. Yep, there it is. So once again, we're pushing with the local sheriff and the fire department. We've just had way too many casualties up here. And so we're doing what we can to educate people. STEM Saturdays, of course. We're really pushing biographies this year. We're updating the patron files. We have more and more teen nights. The Vox books, which are great because they read to you. A lot of the parents love these Vox books because a lot of the kids want to hear the story over and over. So now they just press the button and hand a book to them, and it keeps them busy for several hours. And then if there's no fire danger this year, we're going to have nighttime ghost stories with marshmallows and s'mores. Next, I think, this is it. Yep, that's it. Time for coffee. Okay, so I think I tried to nail that out in about 12 or 13 minutes. Do you guys have any questions? When was the War of 1812? Anything like that?
Yeah, I don't see any hands on this end. Anybody on Zoom? Questions? All right, well, thank you, Brian, for your very entertaining but also very informative presentation. Thank you for telling us more about what's going on at the Forest Lakes Community Library. I appreciate all the work you're doing.
Well, thanks for all your support, but I need to get off because there's other people here, so we'll talk to you all later.
Okay, bye.
Thanks. Bye. Thanks, Arla.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to our foundation chair introduction with Nat.
Okay, I could come back if you're gonna need to leave at 2:30.
Let me just do a check-in with the board. How are you with staying maybe an extra 10 minutes-ish? Okay, we're fine in here. Frank, is he still on board? I don't see Frank.
Looks like we lost Frank.
Okay, Judy. Judy, you're okay to stay an extra 10 minutes? Okay, all right, yeah, we're good.
Okay, I'll go fast and then maybe there'll be questions. First, this is a catch-up. Apparently, there should have been a regular routine of once a year, the Friends of the Public Library and the Foundation give a report to this board. But I can't ever remember that happening. So this is a catch-up. Part of the catch-up, I'd like to do just a brief history, very brief history, and then tell you what we do and how we do it. So the brief history is this. When this library was completed, with a lot of input from Kathy Chase, who was a philanthropist, and she put a lot of what you see on the outside of the design of this, the rock and things like that, it really came from her. And she put a lot of money into it too. And Hazel Robinson, who was a past council member at the time, retired teacher, and I think supervised one of the schools. But anyways, at that time, the city council had a liaison to this board, and I was that liaison. And they came up to me in 1990 and said, the library is completed. a lot of the money that they had raised to do more than what the tax paid for, enhancements to the library, higher end chairs, this and that. They still had $9,000 left over. And so Hazel and Kathy asked if I'd be interested in starting a library foundation, or working with them. And short history is 1991, 501c3 bylaws and all the rest of it. And we've been in existence ever since. What we do, we get money from donations and various other ways to fund an endowment, a permanent endowment, which is managed by the Arizona Community Foundation. And again, to be very brief, over the years, we've been able to get about $476,000 in the endowment now. Plus, we have 2 bequests, which won't happen until they pass on, which amount to another $500,000. But anyways, with the $476,000 right now, the interest we get to disperse is about $20,000 a year. And if we did nothing ever, that would continue forever. But the endowment is increasing each year, and so that's the money we get. And how do we disperse it? Well, all the affiliates and the city libraries sites have staff that always have something that they could do or need that isn't paid by a regular budget. And so we ask them to submit their ideas and a budget for it each August, and then goes to the library director. The library director looks at these and says, oh, this one we already have money for. This one is a little bit duplicated. This is totally new and a really good idea. And so with that filter, then the foundation board looks at it and disperses the money that they have. This year we just wrote, well, that was for last year. We just wrote an $18,000 check. Mm-hmm. And I think we dispersed a little over $20,000 for this year. And who gets the money? Tuba City gets the money. East Flag gets the money. We get the money. Grand Canyon gets some of the money. So the requests come from all of the affiliates all the way around. So that's what we do. That's how we do it. And I want to also put in this point, our bylaws have defined 11 board members. We have 8 right now. 2 board member positions are designated, one for the chair and of the Friends and one for the chair of this board or their designee to be on our board. Now we have a person from the Friends, but we've never had, that I can remember, a person from this board to sit the position that's defined on our bylaws, on our board. So we're looking for somebody who might want to do that. We tentatively meet quarterly, but really what it ends up is probably only 6 meetings. We usually have one in January or February that we see how we did with the donations. And then we usually have one about this time to see what else is going on. And then we have 3, August, September, and October. August, we discuss how we're going to, what we're going to do in the next 2 meetings and how we're going to get these requests in. September, the requests come in and we discuss those. And then in October, we have our annual meeting for offices and we disperse the money. So there's usually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meetings during the year. They're always 1 hour long. Yes. Almost to the minute. and we're really proud of that and efficient. So that's the deal. It's great. It's growing. It will grow forever. And it does things that enhance what all of these affiliates and the libraries do. And it starts with the staff and comes up to us. So I hope maybe you could appoint somebody to be at our next meeting, which probably won't be until August.
Sounds
Any
good.
questions?
Is the Friends of the Library a different organization?
Totally different.
Okay.
And the way to remember it, the Friends are pass-through. They'll raise money and they can raise as much as 20,000 a year.
Right,
And they pass it right through
to the library.
to the library staff in a similar type of way that the foundation does. The foundation is the foundation. The money goes to the foundation. As that endowment grows and grows, we have the interest that comes from that on a regular basis, usually about 4% a year of the endowment. Our last few years, our major fund requests are actually donation letters, which are so important in having it work in an efficient way and effective way. But we send out maybe what?
We sent out well over 300.
300. However, out of those 300, this last year, we got $14,000 in donations, which is tremendous for that type of request letter. You know, so that's our biggest effort. But if we had some younger people in there and energized people who would be willing to think of other ways to get money, and we did that in the past, but over the last 4 or 5 years, we've become, our activity is mainly the donation letters and not other things. We've sold things in the past, rugs of pictures of the mountain and had various things going on. But we need a board member from here, and we have 2 other positions. And if you could think of folks that might be really interested and energized, I'd be glad to step down after 25 years.
So Friends of the Library, people join that, right?
Yeah,
But
they
you
join
would-
that.
Like you would join the
That's another difference.
Arboretum or the
That's another difference.
Lowell
Yeah.
as a membership,
Yeah, but the endowment does not
but your
have that.
foundation doesn't do that.
We do have a book for recording names of folks that have donated a significant amount of money, things like that, but no membership. We also have a PayPal site on the on the website.
But do you have your own website or not?
It's a link from the
Then
main
we have a
website.
page on our website.
So, thank you. That was fast.
What's the date of your next meeting?
Our meetings are always the 3rd Thursday of the month, but that would be August.
In August?
Yeah, 3rd Thursday. In here.
Could I ask you to send an email to Starla, just kind of outlining what you presented to us today, maybe responsibilities about what the role would entail, any other information that you think
Sure.
somebody should know about that role? And then we can put this on the agenda for the next meeting and then just discuss if there's any interest among our board of who wants to serve.
Glad.
Thank you, Nat.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and thank you for your contributions throughout the meeting and sharing information, historical information. All right, so this last item, use of large open space in the downtown lobby. How long is that gonna take? Could we
This is
cover it now?
First, I've heard of that, so.
I
it's
think
not
I think I brought it up.
Oh,
Yeah, we
okay.
can move it till later. It was just something when I walk in the library, we've got this huge space with these chairs that are like so far apart that.
I would say too that, that is a temporary situation. Once that front entry is done and, the flow of traffic will be navigating through that. The previous director had an idea of having a lot of self-checkout machines that were along that path to allow for easier access and checking out of materials by patrons. We've had tables out there for people to sit on in the past and library displays a lot in the past. So just be mindful that the big open space right now, that likely is not
gonna be there.
Not going to continue to be there. Hopefully, unless a tornado rips through Flagstaff.
You said that twice.
I know. I'm terrified of
All right, so moving on, informational items from board members. If you haven't already, check out that New York Times article as well as that video from PBS NewsHour. Thank you for keeping us abreast of what's going on nationally and regionally. And so board members who are still remaining on Zoom as well as here, are there any other items you would like to put on the next board meeting agenda that you can think of now? If not, then go ahead and just communicate with Starla on that, and we'll see it on the agenda. Our next board meeting will be in May 11th, 2023. And with that, I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting. It is 2:36 p.m. Thank you all.
Great.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah, lots to cover.
Good job.
Richard, I saw that email. Did you send CJ?
Bye, Judy.
CJ, yeah.
Thank you.